Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be ranking the Harry Potter movies, emphasis on movies from least to best, and just want to preface this is just my opinion. And also I am not going to be talking about the books because I know a lot was left out of the movies that are from the books, and a lot of plot points, characters, the way things happen. So I'm not going to be talking about the books here. I'm only talking about my ranking of the movies, okay? And that includes all 8 movies, from Sorcerer's Stone all the way down to the part 2 of the Deathly Hallows. So yeah, let's get started. Don't forget to like this video. If you like this video, make sure you comment down below your thoughts, and also please make sure to subscribe to my channel to support me. So without further ado, let's get into this ranking list. Well, last on my list is actually the first movie, The Sorcerer's Stone. I still really enjoy The Sorcerer's Stone. I love, like, when I rewatch this movie, you could clearly see that it's older, obviously, but like you could see, you could feel the films. You could just feel that it's older than the rest of the movies, you know, the cinematography and all of that. Obviously, this movie is definitely geared towards a younger audience, and that could be possibly the reason why it's on the bottom of my list, though I still really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, I love the introduction of all the characters. I think it's very well done in the movie. However, like I said, I just feel like it's geared towards a younger audience. The story is definitely much lighter. It has, compared to the darker, more emotional, and I guess somewhat more complex tones of following movies, I do think, yes, the tone is definitely much lighter. Not to say that there are not darker tones in this movie, because there definitely are. However, they're not embellished like they are further on. Obviously, the kids are also getting older as well, so that could also attribute to why the movies were even allowed to get that much darker. And the movies are definitely still geared towards children and also families, but the tones definitely get darker. I think the movie, I don't want to say the story itself doesn't lack depth, but within the emotion, I feel like, is what lacks depth, and not within the acting, but just within the movie itself. I would say it's a definite powerful introduction, but it's just not as high stakes as the movies that follow it, and that's why it would have to be last on my list. Now, number 7 on my list is maybe gonna be a bit controversial, and that's Prisoner of Azkaban. And this is obviously when Harry meets his godfather, Sirius Black, who has, I guess, a warrant out for his arrest. And obviously, I know this is supposed to be kind of an emotional thing, because, you know, he meets Sirius, and I'm sorry if you haven't seen the Harry Potter movies, this will be a spoiler, but he meets Sirius. Sirius tries to contact him. By the end of the movie, Sirius pretty much has to be on the run again. And I'm not saying I didn't love this movie. I enjoy all the Harry Potter movies, okay? Don't get me wrong. I just feel like this one didn't hit as emotionally for me as the other ones, and I feel like it was supposed to. But for some reason, I've watched the Harry Potter series, like, I can't even count on my 10 fingers and 10 toes, or someone else's, how much I've watched these movies. And no matter how much I've watched it, it still just doesn't really hit like that spot for me. I do think it's beautifully directed. It introduces important elements like the Marauders map, obviously Sirius Black. I love the time travel aspect of the movie with Hermione and the time turner. we know we got Buckbeak in this movie, and that whole storyline. There's definitely aspects of this movie that I truly love. And the whole with Remus Lupin, that's also introduced, where we find out that he's actually a werewolf. All of that, all of that does make me love this movie, but it's just not as high as the other ones for me. I can't really tell you an exact reason why. It's just here. It is what it is. It's just here. But it's still visually stunning. It adds like an eerie and mature tone to the series. It's just at number 7 for me, and that's what it is. Okay, so number 6 for me on this list is gonna have to be Order of the Phoenix. This one definitely has some of the best moments, I would have to say, within the series, with Dumbledore's army, the Department of Mysteries. Obviously, Sirius's death. Obviously, that's not a great moment, but within like the context of story, it's a good a moment to put in a movie. And also, but yeah, I don't know, for some reason I feel like the pacing of this movie kind of feels just a little bit off. I don't know what exactly, can't really pinpoint it, but for some reason it feels just a little bit off. However, one of my favorite and most hated characters in this movie is introduced, and that's Dolores Umbridge. I think that's just a testament to the actress's skills, that your character, who is supposed to be hated, is actually hated so much. I feel like she did a wonderful job. But yeah, I love to hate her, and she's in this movie, so that's also like the best thing yet. She's one of the most infuriating yet extremely memorable villains. And I do think that makes the movie like emotionally charged. Well, also a little bit frustrating, but that's not a bad thing within this movie context. It's a key story for Harry's leadership and also his growth, seeing him take charge and teaching other students. I just feel like it might not necessarily be as visually striking as the others. And again, the pacing maybe just feels a little bit uneven, but that could be just me. Okay, so at number 5, there we have Chamber of Secrets. So I know I said, oh, first movie, maybe a little more geared to children, not as dark, yada, yada, yada. But then I put Prisoner of Azkaban as my second least favorite. Well, I mean, like I said, it's just there. Chamber of Secrets is number 5, and I do feel like, to be honest with you, it is way more dark than the first movie. I remember watching this movie as a kid, and I remember I was a punk, and I had nightmares about this movie after watching it. Mind you, like, I'd watched The Sorcerer's Stone maybe the day before, and that did not happen. So that tells me a lot about the Chamber of Secrets. Again, still geared towards children, but definitely darker than the first film. It introduces Tom Riddle, his mystery, and also the basilisk, which is part of the reason that I probably had nightmares about this movie. It's fun, it's creepy, but still full of magical school adventure. It still feels very young. And something that children could definitely still enjoy. It expands the Hogwarts lore, and also it really does show Harry's bravery developing in this movie. Obviously, we got that in The Sorcerer's Stone, but I feel like every movie we keep getting more and more and more of that, and I think that this movie definitely expanded on that aspect of his character. I feel like it's kind of ranked in the middle because it's enjoyable and it's nostalgic, but it's just, again, I hate to, be so repetitive, but it's just not quite as emotionally charged or emotionally complex as maybe the later films, and that's why it's in the middle. I clearly enjoyed it than the other ones, but just not as much as the ones that come before it. But number 4, we have Deathly Hallows Part 1. Obviously, we're moving into the territory of the movies that I enjoyed the most out of the entire series. And I feel like though part one is obviously it's part one, so it's slower than part two. Obviously, part one and part two is number seven, book number seven in the book series. But I do feel like it's a strong build up with tons of character development and emotional tension. I know we're talking about character development and it's in the last movie, but I feel like a whole lot is revealed and comes to a head finally in part one, only to like be wrapped up again, you know, when part two comes. I feel like the isolation and the atmosphere of this movie kind of really just give it this haunting, almost kind of survivalist feel. And it really does fit the tone of war. I feel like with every scene, you know, when they're being chased, you know, before like they take the potion to, you know, transform. Also when like they go to Luna's father's house and the Death Eaters come to them, and you know, I feel like you really do feel like, oh, you know, you're at war once they go to the Malfoy's mansion. There's so much, I feel like, elements in this movie that really capture the essence of what it's supposed to be. Also, I love the visuals. I think they're beautiful. Oh my gosh, especially when they're telling the tale of the three brothers. To be honest with you, I think that's probably my favorite part of Deathly Hallows Part 1, if not my favorite part, like in of the entire series, is when that story of the tale of the three brothers is being told, to be honest. I feel like the animation and the movie capture, I feel like it was just wonderful. I feel like the movie really does capture the loneliness and also the danger of Harry's mission perfectly, you know. It really does feel like the calm before the storm, even though it's not calm at all, if that makes any sense. And it really sets up the emotional, the emotion, the emotional impact of what the final movie is going to bring. So in our number 3 spot, we have Deathly Hallows Part 2, which is right above Part 1. I feel like this is my favorite just because it's the final movie and I feel like everything really does come together relationship wise and all, you know, finally defeating Voldemort and that satisfaction. I do feel like this is one movie where like we get, you know, we are satisfied. Well, at least I was satisfied. Obviously, you know, not with certain aspects of the movie that were changed or left out from books, but satisfaction in terms of nothing was changed in terms of like that final outcome, you know? I feel like it delivers the epic finale that fans waited for, the Battle of Hogwarts. You know, we have all these, you know, the emotional goodbyes towards the end of the movie, if you know what I'm talking about. And also goodbyes in other senses, you know? And also the ultimate face-off between Harry and Voldemort, which is what we really wanted to see. You know, obviously things were changed. I feel like the death of Voldemort could have been done the way it was done in the books, but that's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay. I still enjoyed it, and I get why they did it for movie's sake. I feel like it was definitely more fast-paced, action-heavy, and emotionally intense from start to finish. I find that while it's mostly battle scenes, a lot of the time, I feel like the emotional weight of the characters' journeys is what made this movie satisfying and unforgettable. Okay, so number 2 we have Half-Blood Prince, and what keeps playing in my mind when I think about this movie is Bellatrix Lestrange, who is one of my favorite characters in the Harry Potter series. And when she's singing, "I killed Sirius Black, I killed Sirius Black," I just feel like she's an amazing actress, and I feel like that whole scene, like it's terrible, but it's like one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I know that sounds a little bit morbid, but yeah, so that's what plays in my head when I think about this movie all the time. Obviously, we have Snape's reveal of him being the Half-Blood Prince, and we get his background, so we find out what his background truly is. Obviously, we don't delve into it like the book did, but you know, we kind of understand, okay, like he was half muggle, half wizard. I feel like the tone kind of perfectly balances like humor, mystery, and tragedy. It digs more into Voldemort's backstory, which does add some more depth to the series. I feel like the relationships between the characters is a bit more explored, like between Harry, Hermione, and Ron, and it feels more authentic and more mature. Obviously, this is, you know, this is leading into book 7, so you know. And then I feel like the emotional ending with Dumbledore's death really does hit hard, and it cements its place as one of the most powerful films within the series. Yeah. At number 1, we have Goblet of Fire. I absolutely love Goblet of Fire and everything that's really going on within this movie. I feel like it's the turning point kind of the series, in the moment the story kind of grows darker and more mature. Goblet of Fire is book 4 within the series. I feel like it's right smack dab in the middle, and this is really where the change starts to happen within the series. The Triwizard Tournament just adds more excitement and world building, showing like the other wizarding schools, new magical challenges. This is also when people realize, oh, Voldemort is really back. Well, kind of. At least Harry, you know, sees it for himself. I feel like it's also one of the most emotional ones in the movie. All of these are kind of emotional, but it does have an emotional and shocking ending, you know, here with Cedric Diggory's death and Voldemort's return, as I said. And I feel like that really does change everything in the series, even though that's what we know it was building up to. Well, at least for somebody who's watched this movie over 3 dozen times. I feel like the combination of adventure, tension, and emotional payoff is really what makes this movie the most rewatchable and thrilling entry within this series. So yeah, those are my rankings. So first we have Goblet of Fire, we have Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows Part 2, Deathly Hallows Part 1, The Chamber of Secrets, Order of the Phoenix, Prisoner of Azkaban, and Sorcerer's Stone. So y'all, tell me what your rankings are down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you agree or disagree with anything or everything I said in this video about each movie and why I ranked it this way. Everybody has their own opinion, so I'm totally cool if you hate my ranking, that's fine. But yeah, comment down below. And also, what series would you like me to talk about next? And if I've seen it, I will do it. And if I've not seen it, I'll watch it. But yeah, again, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment, and yeah, hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.